That's betrayal.
I know.
Wow.
We don't always expect that kind of feedback. You know?
Well, I'm glad I can say it honestly.
Okay, hi Rowan. Thanks for sitting down with me.
Thanks for sitting down with me. Okay, the first thing I have for you is, what were you like when you were my age?
I think about this a lot, and I don't know if I've shared this with y'all sometimes, but I was a real, to use a word that I think you would know, goody-goody. I always wanted to have the right answers. I would raise my hand constantly in class, and my friends would roll their eyes because it was like, oh, here goes Alan again. Also, I really was so eager to have teachers and people in authority like me that often I ratted out my friends. So
Wow.
It's kind of like a wonder that I had any friends at all.
Yeah, that's betrayal.
I know.
Wow,
I
I did
know.
not expect that.
Rowan, if the story of your life thus far was a literary genre, which would it be?
I think, okay, you're gonna have to tell me whether this is a real genre or not, because I just read about it the other day. Flash fiction.
Yes.
Like, kind of prosy, but also a little bit poetic because it's so tight. And I feel like I would like for my story to be like a little self-contained, have a lot going on in a short piece. Okay, shifting the focus a little more Nueva. What is one time a Nueva community member inspired or changed the way you thought?
I think this is actually early on in my time at Nueva. I attended the Design Thinking Institute, and I thought, oh, this kind of process of thinking about curriculum design was very STEM focused. And I was thinking, oh, I'm a humanities person. The iLab director at the time, her name was Kim Sachs. She came over to me and she said, you use whatever parts of design thinking are most useful for you.
Yeah, if you had like one small thing in specific that you've changed in your classes because of that, what would it be?
Making a lot of space for student choice. And so trying to make sure that my assignments and the way we talk about literature and the way we talk about writing is actually focused on the students.
I think you succeeded because when I think about like my projects that were the most creative or like push me the most out of what I see as like a traditional project, were definitely in your classes.
Well, I saved your Macbeth Witches project
Thank you.
To use for future classes. My question is also about Nueva, and I know that you've been here since 9th grade.
Yeah.
When you first came to Nueva during that first year, what was a moment that made you feel, yes, I belong here?
This isn't one specific moment, but it was in like the first couple weeks at Nueva when I realized that people were really excited about what they were learning. And like hearing people share what they were passionate about and also care about what other people were passionate about was really exciting and made me feel like, oh, I can find that like spark of joy here and I can share that with other people without it being weird.
That really resonates with what I experience with students. And I like that you pointed out that it's not just about you getting excited about it, but it's about that idea that other students are almost excited for you and want to ask you questions.
Yeah.
That feels really good. Yeah.
What do you hope your students learn from you?
I love this question because I was just talking about it with my English colleagues, and certainly something I want to do is for students to become sort of expressive, persuasive, precise writers. But I have to say, really, what I want them to learn is that they can turn to poetry, novels, films, plays. They can turn to those as a source of absolute kind of joy and wonder, for, I think, comfort sometimes, if they want to cry. Like, literature is such an emotional experience, whatever the emotion is. So, like, learning those habits of really, sinking deep into literature.
I like that.
Yeah. Is there a lesson or an idea from my class that has been particularly useful for you?
I've got to say, one of the things that stood out to me from your classes is like the things we read actually come up in my day-to-day. Wow. Like the authors we read, like people reference them and I'll be like, oh, Butler, like I know who you're talking about. And also everything that I learned in gender and sexuality changed the way that I like look at human interactions and like the way that I see how we define conformity and non-conformity. especially the queer time and space one.
Jack Halberstam?
Yes, Halberstam really made me think about what labels are inclusive, which ones are exclusive, and why you need a little bit of both. And how sometimes we make definitions stricter than they have to be.
Yes. Well, I'm really honored that those things stuck with you. That makes me really happy. It's like, I think as teachers, we don't always expect that kind of feedback, so it's nice to get it. It helps me know that, okay, this thing is worth continuing to introduce to students.
Well, I'm glad I can say it honestly.
Thank you, Rowan, for sitting down with me today. It's been really fun, I think, to take a trip down memory lane.
Yeah.
I'm delighted to hear that you felt like you learned something. I always tell my students, I don't care if you like me or not. I just want you to feel like you learned something. So it was really great to hear that you took things away from those classes.
Yeah, thank you for joining me. I
welcome.
always love learning from you, whether that's in classes or in opportunities like these. So, yeah.
My pleasure.